Hello, this is SME Point. My name is Diagnostic. This week we feature a medical startup that's using artificial intelligence to transform medical imaging diagnosis. Envision Deep AI believes this technology can help industries such as the mining industry to achieve its zero harm and zero fatalities goal. It wants to positively impact on healthcare by using artificial intelligence to democratize access to diagnostic healthcare. Take a look. Envision Deep AI believes it is time artificial intelligence brings solutions to radiography. Their solutions has algorithms that detect pathologies within chest x-rays and mammograms, among others.
A screening tool that's been developed by radiologists. It's been taught by radiologists to actually think like a radiologist and to say, here are the pathologies that we can see and what is the probability of it being normal or having some kind of pathology.
Dr. Kuranteng says the solution will be particularly helpful in the outskirts of the country and rural areas where there is a shortage of radiologists who can adequately interpret the outcomes of a scan.
We give a solution, a technology that allows for clinicians to be able to treat patients more accurately. The solution is, like we said, because it's trained by a radiologist, that it thinks like a radiologist, and even if the radiologist is not in the vicinity, we are able then to say, let's manage our patients accurately, let us deliver a service that may not be physically available for individuals, but on a larger scale and providing it on a teleradiology space.
Dr. Kuranteng says South Africa needs to take the lead in Africa for such innovation to enhance the African healthcare landscape. She says running and managing such a startup also has its challenges.
There's the issue of capital, so you have to, find ways to get capital. That's one. And I think the other thing is that we are not, especially within the medical field, we are not yet as forward thinking in terms of artificial intelligence. It's more like people are thinking, oh, here are these machines, because everybody who's passing here today is saying robots, they're going to take our jobs. But then no, it's actually a way to augment. We're trying to augment and what's the term? To supplement what the radiologist and the doctor can do, and then they can also concentrate on the more difficult, aspects of radiology. So it's also changing the mindsets for people to adapt to this new world that we're moving into.
She says this artificial intelligence will be a game changer for the mining sector that is working to eradicate occupational diseases like silicosis and pulmonary TB.
Occupational lung disease is quite a burden to the South African economy, first of all. It's a big burden to households, adults who've experienced morbidity from parents who are now unable to function. And even in the long term, there's cancers and whatnot. So what the solution does is that the screening of patients. So from the screening, then we detect that there's pathology. Then we are involved from the process, from the beginning, all up until the end, up until, there's whether patients need to be, compensated for and whatsoever. So it's incredibly important in occupational health. And also the fact that our machine can actually, a radiologist will sit and report, 2-3 x-rays in like 10 minutes or so. But with our solution, it actually will report in a minute 2,000 x-rays. So that really, it's very, very, very efficient.
Dr. Kuranteng acknowledges that getting into this type of business is not easy, but says looking for solutions that artificial intelligence can solve is the first step in getting the continent on par with the rest of the developed economies systems. Diagnostic, SABC News, Johannesburg. Thank you so much to that business, for sharing their story with SME on Point. Do remember that we are on Facebook. We're also on Instagram. As usual, our handle is at SME on Point, both on Facebook as well as on Instagram. South Africa doesn't need more venture capitalists to expand the country's pool of small businesses. It needs venture builders. This is according to venture builder Aeon's Creative Technology. They say that the country needs venture builders who are prepared to not only finance but to also mentor startups until they can stand up on their own. Aeon CEO is Michan Adams, and he says that companies fail for two reasons. Firstly is the lack of mentorship and also a lack of funding. But let's explore this further with him as he joins us on Zoom. Mitch, thank you so much for joining us on SME on Point. Really a pleasure to have you on. One can say venture capitalists, venture builders, there's not much of a difference. If you're a venture capitalist and giving out seed capital or whatever capital, in a way you are building, how would you define the difference?
Oh, firstly, thank you so much for having me here. I think venture builder is a very new term. It's a very new concept that's come in. Venture capitalists traditionally only give capital. And in my view, it's seen basically as gambling, like a roulette table. There's a bunch of companies and you're taking your chips and you're just placing on them, hoping for one of them to win that makes up for any other losses that you get. For the venture builder, you are working in the company. You are assisting those companies in the everyday operations to ensure the success of that company, providing the mentorship to the founders, assisting to open up doors, network, coming up with marketing plan, strategy, all of that, but then also providing capital as well, a little seed capital. If you look at what existed hand in hand with venture capitalists in the past, that still exists today, is an incubator. Incubator only does the part of mentorship and getting involved in a company. Not too much. They don't get too involved in the operational aspect, but they do get involved more than what the venture capitalists would. And these two would then work together to try and bring new ventures up to standard.
Yeah.
Now, with the venture builder, it's all there.
Yeah. What would you say you have recognized as Aeons that you say that we need more venture builders, because there's a very thin line with regard to giving mentorship? I know a lot of entrepreneurs and small business owners that are saying enough, we are enough with mentorship, we're enough with advice, we just want capital, we want to be able to scale up, we want to be able to start or grow to the next level. How do you balance the scale of making sure that there's constant mentorship, but it does not, as it were, suffocate the entrepreneur?
So I think a lot of these entrepreneurs forget that venture capitalists don't just have money. They don't have a money tree. It doesn't appear from anywhere, and it's not money that they can just waste. It's money that comes from individuals that have raised the fund in. Those individuals have put hard work behind earning their funds, and so they're not just ready to just throw it all away. The decision that they make to invest money, it's very risk-based. So a venture capitalist is saying, I need any company I'm going to invest in at this criteria, but the ventures that they're looking at are only at this aspect at the moment. It's a bit of a problem they've created themselves. By creating that standard, they only back companies that were going to succeed anyways. And they back these companies, and now the pool of companies that they can invest in is non-existent, basically. And all the new companies coming in don't match the criteria. So the new companies are saying, we don't want the mentorship, we just want the funding. And the VC is saying, get up to this level first before I give you the funding. They're saying, we can't get there without the funding. And then there's just this catch-22 that happens. We stepping in the middle, we're saying, here's a little bit of funding, let's help you push you up there. But honestly, you are not ready for a VC. You are not providing the answer. You're not doing this, meeting everything that they require.
Yeah.
You're also not 100% fit for market. Many people have worked on their product. They have a great product, but a bad business.
Yeah.
And you can have a bad business with a great product and fail. You can have a bad product with a great business and succeed. If you have both, you are destined for greatness. And
which is where due diligence comes in for the VCs, correct? So take us through that.
100%. So yeah, and due diligence takes very long. It can take up to 6 months, between 3 and 6 months. It costs the VC a lot of money, and a lot of the times the VC does not have the capability to actually do the the due diligence properly. For instance, a medical company, they don't have any doctors within the VC to come in, or any technicians, anybody that understands the industry to actually give a proper due diligence on the business. So they're just looking at numbers. They're just looking at what you can do at the market space that does exist and basing it on that aspect.
So in a nutshell, in a nutshell, you are saying that there has to be a right mix and a right balance. We do have a lot of VCs that are there. Of course, they're not geared up for the startup at their very early stage that needs seed or what capital funding, but more those that are needed. But we definitely need to balance up the scales, correct?
100%, and that's also why a venture builder is very important in this place. So the venture builder, if they're involved in a company, they're basically doing your due diligence for you and building that up. I'm not saying venture capitalists should go away. I'm saying they should work with venture builders. This is the balance you're talking about. VCs still have a very important role to play, because venture builders can only take it to a certain level and then hand over to a VC to take it to the next level.
Understood. Thank you so much, Mitchell Adams from Aeon's Technology. Thank you so much for your views. That's all we have for SME on Point for this week. Remember to support small businesses in your communities and rotate those rands and cents, and really buy from small businesses. Use your money. It will build the economy.